Now, the fight against contaminated water is getting a boost from more federal funding. More than $61 million in grant funding will come from the Environmental Protection Agency. Local communities can use those monies for projects like improving infrastructure and installing treatments that cut down on contamination in the water supply. Senator Tom Tillis secured the grant through the bipartisan infrastructure package passed into law last year.